Jackson Carter stepped into the Willow Creek Tavern, unaware that his evening drink would ignite a series of events that would reshape the lives of everyone involved. A reserved but self-assured man, Jackson was no stranger to judgment. He had faced it numerous times while proudly wearing his blue cap, embroidered with the phrase, "United we stand." Yet, he did not expect the icy reception he would receive from Lila Anderson, a bartender with firm opinions and little tolerance for those who didn't align with her worldview. What began as a routine drink order quickly escalated when Lila refused to serve Jackson, demanded that he leave, and, in a shocking turn, called the police to have him removed. However, Lila didn't know one crucial detail. Jackson wasn't just another customer. He was the owner of the Willow Creek Tavern, a man who had built his business on principles of integrity and fairness, values he held above all else. That night would set the stage for a life-altering revelation for Lila and a powerful lesson in respect, understanding, and second chances. Before diving into this thought-provoking story of pride, humility, and unexpected redemption, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever let your assumptions get the better of you? If stories like this inspire you, hit like, subscribe, and join us for more tales that challenge perceptions and inspire growth. Jackson Carter knew the value of hard work and perseverance. As the founder and owner of the Willow Creek Tavern, he had poured countless hours into building the establishment from the ground up. Over the years, the tavern had become a cornerstone of the community, celebrated for its welcoming atmosphere, excellent service, and live music. Jackson had worked tirelessly to create a space where anyone, regardless of their background, could feel at home. Despite his success, Jackson remained humble and approachable. He often visited the bar unannounced to ensure operations ran smoothly and to connect with patrons. However, this night was different. Jackson's cap, a symbol he wore proudly but without malice, often drew strong reactions. For Jackson, the cap represented his values and beliefs, a reflection of his identity. It wasn't intended to provoke, but rather to express pride in what he stood for. Yet, he was aware that symbols carried different meanings for different people, often heavier than intended. As Jackson entered the bar, he was greeted by the familiar hum of conversation and the clinking of glasses. However, beneath the warmth of the room, he sensed a few lingering stares directed his way. Brushing it off, he resolved to enjoy his evening. Behind the bar, Lila Anderson was busy preparing a round of cocktails when she first noticed Jackson. Lila had been working at the Willow Creek Tavern for only 2 weeks, but her fiery personality and sharp wit had already made her popular among certain regulars. Passionate about her beliefs, Lila often engaged in spirited debates about politics and social issues, while her strong opinions occasionally led to minor clashes with customers. She saw herself as standing up for what she believed was right. Lila had moved to the city seeking a fresh start after leaving a more corporate establishment. The Willow Creek Tavern's reputation as a safe and inclusive space had drawn her in. To Lila, this wasn't just a job. It was an opportunity to contribute to a place that aligned with her ideals. But that perception was challenged when her eyes locked onto Jackson's cap. To Lila, it was more than just a piece of clothing. It was a symbol of division and intolerance. She couldn't understand why someone would wear it openly, especially in a space she considered a sanctuary of inclusivity and acceptance. Her mind raced as she debated her next move. Should she ignore it and carry on? Or should she confront Jackson and take a stand? Determined to act, Lila approached Jackson's table, her expression neutral but her heart pounding. Jackson, seated comfortably with a menu in hand, looked up and offered a polite smile. "Good evening," he said warmly. Lila's professionalism faltered as she addressed him. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to remove your cap," she said firmly. "It's making some of our patrons uncomfortable." Jackson raised an eyebrow, his expression calm. "I see," he replied. "I'm not sure how my cap is affecting anyone, but I'm happy to sit quietly and enjoy a drink." Lila crossed her arms, her voice tightening. "This isn't just about you. That cap represents something that goes against what we stand for here. I'm going to have to insist that you take it off or leave." Jackson's demeanor didn't waver. "With all due respect, I'm here as a paying customer. I'm not causing any trouble, and I'd like to stay. Determined not to back down, Lila raised her voice slightly. If you won't leave, I'll have to involve the authorities. Jackson's expression softened. Do what you feel is necessary, he said quietly, returning his attention to the menu. The room fell silent as Lila stepped away to make the call. Patrons whispered among themselves, the atmosphere growing increasingly tense. Some supported Lila, viewing her actions as a stand against perceived intolerance, while others felt the situation was escalating unnecessarily. When the police arrived, the tavern fell even quieter. 2 officers entered, commanding immediate attention. Lila hurried to explain her version of events, pointing toward Jackson, who remained seated and composed. One officer approached Jackson, who greeted them with his usual calm demeanor. Good evening, officers. I'm not sure why I'm being asked to leave, but I'm happy to explain my side. As the officers listened to both sides, the situation began to unravel. Jackson's polite manner contrasted sharply with Lila's escalating frustration. Several patrons spoke up, some defending Lila's stance, but many supporting Jackson, emphasizing that he had done nothing to warrant such treatment. A regular named Eleanor, an older woman who had frequented the tavern for years, stepped forward. I've seen him here before, she said. He's always been respectful and keeps to himself. The manager, Danielle Porter, arrived shortly after, alerted by a flurry of messages from the staff. Taking stock of the scene, she approached Jackson. I'm so sorry about all this, she said, handing him a drink. Let's talk privately tomorrow. Jackson nodded, his expression unreadable. I appreciate that, Danielle. I'll finish my drink and be on my way. As Jackson departed, the tavern buzzed with speculation and divided opinions. Lila, still convinced she had acted appropriately, felt vindicated by some patrons' support. However, Danielle's frustration was evident, and she quietly signaled to Lila that they needed to talk later. Back at home, Jackson reflected on the night's events. Disappointment weighed heavily on him, not only in Lila's actions, but in how the tavern he had built as a place of respect and community had become the site of such conflict. Meanwhile, Lila, still working her shift, began to question her actions as the tension lingered. For the first time, she wondered if her principles had clouded her judgment. The following morning, Jackson called Danielle to arrange a meeting with Lila. It was time to address what had happened directly. When Danielle informed Lila about the meeting and revealed Jackson's role as the owner, Lila was stunned. The revelation left her grappling with guilt and anxiety about the confrontation and the potential consequences for her future at the tavern. During the meeting, Jackson addressed Lila with calm authority. He explained the principles on which the tavern was built and expressed his disappointment in her actions. Lila admitted she had let her emotions dictate her behavior and apologized sincerely. Jackson, recognizing her willingness to take responsibility, decided to give her a second chance but imposed a suspension and probationary period to ensure she could rebuild trust. Over the following weeks, Lila worked diligently to prove herself. She approached her tasks with renewed focus, treated every patron with respect, and sought to mend relationships with her colleagues. Gradually, her efforts paid off, and the team's camaraderie was restored. Jackson's decision to extend grace had not only salvaged Lila's career, but reinforced the tavern's commitment to inclusivity and growth. The Willow Creek Tavern thrived in the aftermath of the incident, and the lessons learned became a cornerstone of its culture. For Lila, the journey was transformative. She emerged not only as a better employee, but as a better person, committed to upholding the values of respect and understanding in every aspect of her life.